So, greetings, sentient beings. Standard disclaimer. This broadcast is not intended for children. It will probably contain strong language and adult themes. So, sorry we're a little late there. I got distracted by somebody asking me some stuff on Twitter.
Darn Twitterverse.
Someone was wrong on the internet.
Isn't there always something wrong with the internet?
No, I mean, oh, never mind. It's an old reference.
I got you. The first time our joke off stream, I didn't get you, but that time I got you, Kate. You're landed. You're all right.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I have a
I'll try to
question.
mute myself, but I'm coughing a lot.
I have a question since we're supposed to be asking you stuff. My question is this: can I have a cookie?
Well, I
Chocolate.
don't see how I could do much to stop you from 1,000 miles away.
Oh, well, good then.
Yeah, besides, I was always the soft one when I was raising the kids. I always gave them lots more treats than their mothers approved of.
That's
Even now, Sloth Girl says I spoil my cat rotten.
That's what cats are for.
Well, and he's such a good guy. I think he's Canadian because he's always apologizing, but he never causes any trouble.
Possibly.
Purple.
Okay, so in the
I'm just
side
gonna-
chat, we've got Prophet of Zod and Amiga Nuts and Doorknob Head.
I'm just going to jump out, Purple, because it's quite late here. I'll probably be in the chat for a while, but thank you very much for appreciating me for a wee while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I understand it's the wee hours of the morning where you are.
The ass crack of dawn.
That would be a good way of putting it, Bionic. Thank you very much. And everybody, thanks very much. Great night. Good night.
Night.
Well, good morning to you. Yeah, and then I above anyone know that, mornings should be avoided at all cost.
Well, I mostly agree. It would be best to wake up no earlier than mid-afternoon.
I've always considered good morning to be a kind of oxymoronic phrase. Any day I'm out of bed while it can still legitimately be called morning has little prospect for turning out well. Yeah, it's more often, yeah, it's a pretty safe bet. If you ever see me around before 10 a.m., it's a pretty safe bet that it means I haven't gone to bed yet. And quite literally, I'd say at least half the time I don't get to bed before sunrise.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I am always awakened every morning just before the sky is light by a rather insistently hungry kitty.
Yeah, we've discussed that before. That's why I never feed my cats when the sun is up. I train my cats that no, you're not going to eat until it's dark, so don't bother waking me.
Well, I've decided I'm going to let my cat turn into a fat ass again, because, she doesn't bug me when she has ample food available all day.
Yeah.
So, because she is a meower, this one. 2 hours before her normal dinner time, she will start to bitch.
Yeah, Sammy's son's a very quiet one. He doesn't vocalize very often. Generally, if he does, there's something I really need to look at. 'Cause like I say, he's always apologizing. It's like, if I'm busy, he'll come up and he'll very gently tap on my arm, like, excuse me, I hope this isn't a bad time.
See, I wish my kitty would do that, but she always has to have her claws out no matter what she's doing. And like if she loves to lie on my arm and she'll put her paw on my arm, and of course the claws are digging in ever so slightly. If I start to pet her, she'll clench like someone in a movie having an orgasm just off camera, and all you see is their hands scrunching up the bed sheets. Columbia will do that to my arm, and just from being petted like you
Yeah.
normally pet a cat, and yeah, so I wish my cat would just tap me.
Well, he does always have his claws out, but he can't help that.
Hmm.
He's got a mutation. He's got two claws in each thumb, so he can't fully retract his front claws. They're always out at least a quarter inch.
It seems like on the spectrum of mutant powers, one of the worst.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be the greatest thing, but I kind of wonder if maybe that's, why he always acts like he thinks he's in trouble. I think if maybe the people before him didn't quite understand that.
My cat is
He's also
perfect.
sorry. What was that, Faye?
My cat is perfect in every way.
Yeah. Yeah, Sammy also has a bad pica habit. He
What
likes to
now?
he likes to eat brightly colored things out of the rug, which,
Oh,
considering that Sloth Girl does all sorts of yarn craft and, all sorts of needle craft, there's yarn and embroidery floss and things like that all over the place. So he goes and eats all that and then spits it up 2 hours later and then thinks I'm going to yell at him for it. And it's
uh,
like, it's a bad idea to eat it, but I'm not going to get mad at you for getting sick.
yeah. I think my cat's worst habit, though, and fortunately it's one that doesn't come up very often, is that she doesn't remember or care that the kitchen counter is off limits to her.
Doesn't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if I happen to catch her up there, boy, does she bolt like she knows she's gonna get swatted. But you know, um, like she doesn't get up there very often that I've ever noticed. But when she does, she inevitably knocks something off.
Yeah, that's another thing with Sammy. It's like he hardly ever knocks anything off the tables or anything.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, and same with Columbia. It's only when she's on the counter.
yeah, well, he very much likes high places. That's where he feels safe. Like if they come in to do maintenance or something. So it's like, I let him go with that little like foot long piece of counter in front of the microwave. I'll let him go up there because then he can hop up on top of the fridge and get on top of you know, on top of the high kitchen cabinets. That's his safe place that he goes up there and he knows nobody can reach him up there.
Hmm. I don't know.
But,
There are
that's
times
also, like I say, that it's just that's right in front of the microwave, so it's like I'm never preparing food there anyway.
There are times I wonder if Columbia is really a cat because she does so few traditional cat things. She won't chase laser pointers. She doesn't like cat chasers. She barely reacts at all to catnip. And I mean, and she doesn't like cardboard boxes, or at least she doesn't seek them out. It's not that she hates them. She just isn't a typical kitty where she likes to be in them.
Mm.
It's just weird. She's very not catty in many ways.
Well, Sammy won't play with the laser pointer because he knows it cheats. He
Oh.
knows the red dot cheats. He knows he's caught it and that's not there. So he's given up on that game.
Hmm. I don't know. Columbia would chase either that or a string or something for about 15-20 seconds. Then she would just lie down and look at me like, are you serious? You really think I'm going to chase that thing, do you?
I actually had a little electronic remote control mouse and he absolutely loved that. He went wild over it, but the thing died the first day,
Oof.
and when I went back and I looked at reviews on the internet, it's like, yeah, that's about as long as these things ever last.
But I have
So
this
it's like I wish I could get him something like that that would actually last.
I have this thing. I don't even know what it's called anymore. But it looks sort of like a circular blue vinyl doily or something.
Yeah,
And
actually, I remember you had that in a video showing your cat with that. I've got
yeah,
one of those too. And again,
Columbia
it's like
likes it.
he enjoyed that for a couple of weeks, and then he kind of figured out the pattern, so then he got bored with it.
Oh. Columbia will still play with hers. It's like one of the few cat things she'll do. Is that uh, she's a bit of a hunter at heart, and you can tell, but she never has the opportunity.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He would love to have live things to chase, but he got to be an outside cat before I moved into this apartment.
Oh, that's not
I,
really an option for me. Like, since I've had Columbia, because I've always lived somewhere like Seattle or San Diego, where you let a cat out and you'll never see it again for one reason or another.
well, I had outside cats all my life, but never again.
Hmm.
The
Well, I
the
mean, what?
two that
Well,
sorry,
where I grew
what,
up in
Faye?
Vermont.
Hmm?
I thought you said something, Faye.
Oh no, I was just
Uh,
listening.
well, where I grew up in Vermont was very open, very sort of like suburban-y kind of neighborhood place, and we always let our cat out. Although Kitty, don't let a toddler name the cat. I just pointed and said Kitty. But she was a
Oh, bad.
vicious hunter. Oh, you have no idea. Like once I literally found a rabbit under my bed. Like literally she had somehow killed the rabbit, snuck into the house with it up a flight of stairs into my room, and then put the rabbit there. And my mom did not believe me at first that there was a dead rabbit under my bed. But finally, at my insistence, she hung up on the phone call and looked and was like, "Oh my gosh, there's a bunny under your bed." And I was like, "Told ya." So,
Well, Doorknob had made a very bad joke about I think Columbia would always be chasing clues,
hmm.
and as then issued a challenge to get for us to get Wonder Lady to rant up a storm because he says that's always fun.
Oh no.
See, people like your rants.
I don't plan them.
I know. You can't just do it if you're not in the mood for it.
Mm-mm.
I'm
But it
looking
does
forward
amuse
for
me that he likes it. So,
I'm looking forward to you doing more of those lists of questions.
I'm
Oh, those are so hard to find these days.
Well,
I'm I'm
Wonder
almost
Lady was
done.
that's how she really got her channel started. That she was great at coming up with these lists of interesting
Oh,
questions.
I sorry, I
You know,
misunderstood. I thought you meant the like questions for atheists with the Christians asking silly ass
yeah,
questions. So
yeah, but like you say, they tend to all be basically the same questions over and over.
yeah, but sometimes it's still fun.
Yep. But see, I was answering Wonder Lady's questions in text, and now that I've got some vague idea on how to use a video editor and I could actually make a video out of them,
Hmm.
that would be more interesting now.
They're
Well,
coming out. They're coming out this month.
okay.
What
Actually, for me, it's more like making an audio out of it and throwing up some kind of slideshow, but I haven't really figured out the visual part yet.
I might be able to help you with that. So
Mm.
I can
Well,
give you the
I
power.
actually do have a camera now, so I'm experimenting with it, but I'm not comfortable with it yet. Neil the 604 atheist upgraded, and he sent me his old camera.
Well, of course he upgraded. He's in Canada, and Canada's north, which is up on the map, so he can only upgrade.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in a weird mood.
Yeah, it's fine.
Neil's
I
pretty
like
cool, though.
weird. I would never use normal for anyone I would call a friend.
Hmm. Although sometimes people's abnormal is better to be elsewhere from.
Well, yes, there are different varieties of it, and some of them need to be avoided.
Oh yeah.
So, in the last 4 years, more than in the entire rest of my life, I have been using the word supersede. Like at game night when I play my supersede card, you see,
Okay.
because I don't want to say Trump.
Ah,
Yeah. It's
I guess
okay.
that
So,
doesn't come up much in the games I play, so
well, we were playing Oh Hell on Sunday with my game group, and I'd never played it before, but I understood the concept rather quickly because it's very similar to other games. But there was a Trump suit was part of it, and some part of my brain was going, "No, I don't want to say that."
well, I one of the things that helps me get through this is I always, I'm kind of reassured when I remember that in Britain, Trump is considered a rude term for a fart.
Really,
Yeah.
I'd never heard that ever, even once a little bit. Well, wait a minute, wait. When you say that, did that happen after he became president, or has it always
Oh
been
no,
that way and it's just a coinky dink?
no, it's just a coincidence. It's been that way for hundreds of years.
Okay. I mean, I guess it's probably a truncated trumpet, is my guess.
That would be my guess too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
after I found that out, then I kind of wonder, if that was the joke in Monty Python with them, with the asses blowing the trumpets.
Oh. That's possible. Never really thought of it. It's funny, I just got done watching Life of Brian again.
I don't remember the last time I saw that one.
Wow. You mentioned Monty Python. I
Yep.
figured yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Holy Grail, and I've got the complete TV series on disc.
Mm.
Life of Brian's one I don't have.
What about like Meaning of Life and Now for Something Completely Different?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, there's also Monty Python and the Meaning of Life, and there's also And Now for Something Completely Different.
Yep. I should have both of those somewhere, but I have no idea where they're at this point.
Oh, the
My
Meaning of Life.
DVDs are terribly disorganized, and most of them are in two bins rather than being up on shelves, so I can't really find the ones I want.
I've actually started removing old video games off my shelves to make room for all of my movies. I have something like 700 movies on disc. And that's not counting the TV shows. So I like movies. It's a thing I do. Although one thing that keeps happening, ironically, is there'll be like I have three different streaming services, and sometimes there'll be that show that's not on either one of them. So I buy the box set, and then 1 month or 1 week to 3 months later, now they're streaming it. And it's like, whoa, gee, thanks for making me pay all that moolah to, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm just paying for it already on the streaming service. It's like makes you kind of grumpy.
Yeah. Well, I've had the opposite happen to me too often on Netflix that I'll get like two-thirds of the way through a series and then they'll drop it, so I don't know how it ended because I never get to see the last season.
I can actually go you one better. I had them actually cancel the show between episodes. Like I finish episode 4 and then I go to find episode 5 and it's not there anymore. The
Yeah,
entire
well,
show has been wiped out.
that's what's happened to me. It's been at least 4 or 5 times that it's like I've been like halfway through the third season and they cancel it and the show ran 5 seasons.
Oh, no, I mean while I was watching it. Like literally I finish the episode, I click next episode and it's not there.
Oh, no, haven't run into that. It's always kind of been the thing that, yeah, when I finally dozed off and then I go back the next day to catch the next episode and then I can't find it anymore.
Frustrating, isn't it? I'm not
Yeah,
even sure how that works exactly, where it's like the streaming services don't seem to have much conformity to well, we can run the movies from this company but not that company and vice versa. I mean, sometimes they'll have the whole series together, but it doesn't mean they'll have everything by that film company. And so I have to
yeah,
wonder how they like distribute the rights to movies that way.
yeah. It's all license and contracts, and some of it, like sometimes you'll have a series of movies, but they won't have the entire series. There will be like one missing in the middle, and sometimes that can happen, like because an actor won't sign a contract for the royalties to it.
Huh.
If they don't think they're getting enough of the royalties and they won't sign a contract because if they don't have everyone who was involved in it signing a contract, they can't release it. I'm not sure how all that works on the legal stuff, but that's how it was explained to me.
Well, but even so, I mean, if it's like, well, Netflix has these movies from Paramount, 20th Century Fox, and United Artists, but then you go to you know Hulu, and they have movies from all the same companies as well, but they're not the same movies. Well, it just seems weird.
Well, a good example of that was really strange was the Back to the Future trilogy.
Yeah.
Because, for years you could find 1 and 3, but you couldn't find 2
Mm.
because apparently a different production company had the rights to the second one. So it took them forever to buy them out so that they could release all 3 as a box set.
Well, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, there's only the first 2 up. I can't find the third one. Also, every now and then they'll do weird shit where it's like only the sequels up. Like I remember for years, Matrix 2 was up, but not the Matrix.
Yeah, that I see a lot of too. That you'll see the sequels, but not the original because somebody's holding out for more money.
Well, either that or they've put it behind a paywall. It's like it seems kind of obnoxious to me that you can get Netflix and Hulu, but to watch certain things, you have to get like the HBO or Showtime add on.
Well, and what really gets me with Netflix is there's some stuff now still that you can only get by them mailing you a DVD and you can't stream it, like Stargate.
Well, I have that on disc anyway, so neener neener, but
Yeah, well, I only have like the first 6 seasons,
hmm.
but it's like that's so bizarre to me that, you know, you have to sign up for that level of service that'll physically mail you a disc. And that's such a pain in the ass because it's like, no, I want to watch it now, not 3 days from now when the mail gets here.
Yeah, I didn't even remember they did that anymore. I remember that Netflix started that way now that you bring
Yeah.
it up, but I'd forgotten about it entirely and just remember the streaming stuff. Um,
And I realized, on that level, how accustomed I've gotten to the modern technology because it's like, yeah, none of this stuff existed when I was growing up. I mean, VCRs did not become a thing until after I had graduated high school.
oh, I
I mean, they existed, but they were so hideously expensive that virtually nobody had them until then.
I only barely remember life before a VCR. I know my parents didn't have one when they adopted me because it was like 1976, but I do remember when we bought one.
Yeah, my brother in law was the first one I knew who had one, and he got it in 1982. And even at that point, the remote actually had a cord back to the unit. It was on a 20-foot cord.
Hmm, that's funny.
Yeah, and actually, that's even now why I have so many gaps in my movie collection. Is it wasn't until 4 years ago when I moved here that I finally gave up all the VHS tapes. Up until
No,
then, I had a lot of my movies on VHS.
I only still have like one or two VHS tapes, and that's because they're like for movies that will probably never see the light of day on disc ever.
That was part of why I held on to mine, and yeah, there are some that I don't know if I'll ever be able to replace.
Whenever I try to explain to people about a movie called Catch Me If You Can that is not the Lenny DiCaprio movie, nobody knows what I'm talking about. Nobody like I've never met one person who knew it independent of me.
I'm not a movie person, so.
Oh, I've worked in 4 video stores when my memory was still good. If you needed someone connected to Kevin Bacon in less than 6 steps, thank you very much indeed. I never exceeded 4. I was the one you went to.
Yeah, I'm I'm lousy with celebrities. I remember the characters. I never remember who the actor was that played him.
Hmm. I remember both. Although it is kind of funny sometimes when you see an actor and then like you've seen them in one role for ages and then you see them in another radically different role and it's just like wow, dude's got range.
Hey, Maya. And that's what I like are the actors that have the range to play a lot of different characters.
Hmm.
Okay, Kate, I don't know if this was at all intentional on your part,
Yeah,
but your current logo looks almost to the point that you could be sued for knocking off the Lego Classic Space logo.
that exactly is the Lego Classic Space logo.
Okay, so that was intentional.
Completely.
Okay. I wasn't aware of you being into Legos very much, so I didn't
I
know if you
was
were.
when I was little. Um, I don't think I have any anymore, but there was a time when I built the crap out of Legos.
You don't have any anymore? How?
I don't know. I don't think I do.
I'm sorry, I can't wrap my head around that concept.
Well, I mean, I spend a lot of my time building stuff, but not out of Legos.
Hmm.
I mostly build it out of, well, vertexes and planes and all of that stuff because I do my animation, you see.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand you do you know, the virtual characters.
So,
I do not have that kind of artistic talent. I need physical parts to put together to make things look like anything.
Well, it's amazing how many times I've said I don't have that talent, only to discover that it really is a learned skill rather than a talent.
I think for a lot of things like art and music, you need to at least have a seed there. There are some things I just can't do. I can't do music at all. I have a tin can ear.
But you can write.
You know, but it's like, at every Christmas and birthday, someone will give me a Lego set, which I very much appreciate. And inevitably, somebody else there will say, "Don't you have enough Legos?" And it's like, you have completely missed the point. I will not have
Hmm.
enough Legos until I can build a life-size replica of the planet.
Yeah.
I'll allow that it can be hollow.
Oh, I think it should have a molten core.
Well, actually, I figured I'd use the Duplo blocks for a framework to support it from inside, and then nobody has to see those awful things. But
Hmm. Yeah, Duplo just seemed like cheating.
well, they were made for kids who don't have the finger coordination yet. So they
So
have their
true.
purpose, and I started my kids out on them. But by the time they were 4 or 5, I moved them up to the regular ones that always said 8 and older.
That seems like a lot of kids.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, over the course of 25 years and 4 relationships, I helped raise 9 kids.
But you said that you gave them Legos when they were 5 or 6.
Yeah, some of them started out really small. Actually, one of them, I was never actually in a relationship with her mother. I just wound up being their nanny. But I was there and I held her in the hospital when she was only 6 hours old. And I am convinced that I spent more time with her than her father ever did. Actually, I had fun freaking out people in the Transformers group because, yeah, when she was like 4 years old, I would like give her like Beast Wars Megatron and, you know, or something that was fairly collectible and worth a fair bit of money, and people would not believe I would let a child play with it. And it's like, yeah, she could do it. She could transform them faster than most of the people I knew.
Hmm.
So, yeah, my youngest one is in college now. So I'm done with that phase. I gave them all a reasonably good start on life.
And then a swift kick out the door.
Well, actually, I was the one who usually got the swift kick out the door because it's like once they got old enough to be independent, then their mother decided they didn't need me around anymore.
Oh.
I, yeah, pattern in my relationship seemed to be outliving my usefulness.
Well, the patterns in my relationship seems to be falling for someone from whom I should run screaming instead. So,
Yeah, and I understand that. The one you tell about your the one that had the very nasty drug habit.
mm-hmm.
Because my fiance had a similar ex to that.
Yeah. It's the problem is that like junkies have a tendency to have that punk look I find very attractive, but hardly anyone who does that outside of the movies that look. Hardly any of them are clean and sober in real life, and that stinks. You know what else stinks? Dung.
I was going to say dirty socks, but
Well, that too, but I decided to reach for the top shelf.
excuse me. Yeah, I was in the store today and there was a kids game about plunging a toilet and making the the turd pop out. It's like who came up with how did this get to be a kids game in the store when you consider the number of people who had to be involved to get this product together? How did
Yeah,
enough people agree that, oh, yeah, this is a good idea, we're going to sell this?
I don't know.
I
It
just don't understand how it got through all those levels without somebody saying, should we really be teaching kids to play with shit?
well, I mean, yeah. I'm just surprised that like it exists in the first place. I mean, like though they would have had focus groups. They would have had people playing the game to see if it was any fun. Like independent people who weren't making the game themselves. And apparently those focus groups approved.
Yeah, I understand that's how it's supposed to work, and that's why I get so baffled when I find these products in stores.
Yeah. I mean, there are some wacky stuff that they've marketed. Do you remember when there was sort of a Burger King food trough thing that you wear around your neck, so you just have to lean forward and the burger's right there?
Yeah, I think during the Christmas stream you would put up a picture of that, and it's like, I'd forgotten about that for many years, but yeah, remember there being, that being one of those as seen on TV items, so that people could munch their burger while they were driving without taking their hands off the wheel or something.
I'm pretty sure the picture is a guy like sitting at a computer, but yeah, same diff. Um,
Well,
there,
and see, that's what's even worse is it's like when these really bad products hit the market and someone else gets the idea that somebody's making money off of this, so they make a knockoff of a product that should never have existed to begin with.
well,
You
I
see that a
think
lot with
what
those
like
as seen on TV things.
do you remember before we had DoorDash, for a very brief time there was Webvan, right? And as I understand it, they went under because of all these neckbeard guys in their mom's basement ordering a single Mountain Dew to their home.
I don't remember Webvan. Maybe they just didn't have them in the cities I was living in at the time.
Wow. I remember it was this big honkin' scandally thing that it happened like that.
Mm. Yeah, Mega Nuts, I don't know if the game was called Pooh, but something I saw in the store, kids' game of them plunging a toilet until the poo popped out.
It sounds like did you ever see How I Met Your Mother?
I saw some of it. I didn't watch the whole series. I
Oh,
got bored with it after a while.
I adore it, but there was this like one of the characters, her dad was always trying to make board games, but his board games were always just a little off.
Yeah,
And
I remember that being a repeating joke in several episodes.
well, this poop game sounds remarkably like one of his.
Yeah, I remember one of them talking about him doing a game about diseases.
You know, but I seem to remember there was one where like something would explode with really gross mud looking, poop looking stuff, and that was part of the game.
Guess I didn't see that episode.
Hmm.
Or I don't remember it. It's been a while since I watched that at all.
I really like this show quite a bit. I'm not sure I can explain why, but it really appeals.
Well, some of the characters I really liked. Some of them I found kind of annoying. And just kind of the premise that it was taking him 10 years to tell this story.
Well, then that's part of the funny, I think. But I don't know. I found, well, okay, why is it that on television most of the best womanizing like assholes, the ones where their whole life is spent in pursuit of getting laid, are played by gay men?
I would think that might have something to do with the effect that, gay men might have more of a perspective on how women feel. Mostly about men rejecting them, but also about just, men thinking that they can use them for sex and don't have to put anything more into it type things.
I don't know. I just
Because
find that an
there
amusing
are a
thing.
lot of men who want to say they're straight, so they feel if they get a blowjob from another guy, that doesn't count and they're still straight and things like that.
Hmm.
And that's really a hell of a lot more common than people realize.
Well, I wouldn't know. But I mean, it's still, I think, a weird coincidence, kind of the way so many movie score composers, like the dudes who do the soundtrack, have names that start with J. Right? John Williams, James Newton Howard, Jerry Goldsmith, James Horner. These are all like famous movie composers. At least half of the ones out there have names that start with J. What's that about?
And again, that's something I would have never noticed just because I usually don't know the real names.
Oh, well, I mean, as much as a movie buff as I am, and I love the music, I love the soundtracks in movies.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing I would totally know.
Well, yeah, like, the original Star Wars trilogy would have never been what it was without the soundtrack it had.
Oh, true. True.
That epic orchestra.
Yeah. Oh, listening to these soundtracks for movies like before Star Wars is almost painful, especially from like the 50s and stuff, that they have that weird like honking brass section that dominates everything. And it's just very hard to listen to.
Yeah. There were some good ones, but there are some things I just like the soundtrack. Actually, one of the things that I miss, I've got to find a new copy of the soundtrack from Space 1999.
Really?
Regardless of what you thought of the show, it had some good music.
It starts
Unfortunately,
with
I
a
only had
disco
it.
theme song. Ugh.
Huh?
It starts with a disco theme song that sounds like bad porn music. Ugh.
I don't remember the disco part. I guess it's been a long time because
Eh.
I only had it on a vinyl record. I haven't had it since then.
Hmm. Well, it's not a good theme song, that's for darn sure.
Well, if it
Like,
had anything to do with disco, I'll agree with you on that premise.
yeah.
I really felt that it was the crowning achievement of my generation that we killed disco, and then they tried to bring it back.
Ugh. I do not understand the appeal of disco at all. Like, not even a tiny, tiny bit.
Yeah, I do still wonder if disco didn't start because an epileptic got caught under a strobe light.
Hmm.
That's what most of the dancing looks like to me.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, when I try to picture disco dancing, I just picture that the guy in the leisure suit pointing at the ceiling like John Travolta on the cover of Saturday Night Fever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, mentioning Space 1999, when I was in Walmart today, they actually had a model of one of the ships from that series.
Hmm.
And it's like, who's producing these models in this day and age? It's not like
Um,
that's one they even tried to do a reboot of or anything.
and I'm surprised they've tried to reboot every other damn thing.
Yeah. Well, and it's like it was like in there on the shelf in between, the ship from Star Trek Discovery, and the Grissom from the Next Generation.
Well, I still want them to put out a model of the Orville. They're like, there's hardly any Orville swag out there.
I am surprised that nobody's picked up a toy line for the Orville yet.
Yeah.
I am surprised that there isn't a model in the action figures available.
Yeah, they
But
have put out a an Orville specific click or Hero Clicks or whatever it's called, that game. But that's
yeah,
like it. The beyond T-shirts, that's it.
yeah, I would have thought it's got a big enough fan base that they'd be selling action figures by now.
Mm-hmm. Oh well. Did how the hell is that pronounced? The Deviance? I don't know. If you're asking about the Orville, it used to be owned by Fox, and then Hulu bought it for season 3, and it's going to be a Hulu exclusive for season 3. So I
Oh,
guess technically Hulu owns the Orville now.
so Fox is no longer making it.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Okay,
actually not a bad move because now they're not constrained by strict episode lengths and they can do things they never would have got away with on television.
well, I was gonna say that definitely makes me much more inclined to go back and watch season 2 now and catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the fact that it was on Fox is one of the reasons I didn't get into it because they have killed so many good shows.
Yeah. Well, um, there is one episode, I want to say just one in season 2 that I found disappointing, but the rest of it was pretty good. So, and for a TV show at all, ever one bad show in a season is not bad at all. That's doing pretty well, in fact.
No, yeah, that's quite good. I mean, you always expect there to be, one or two lame ones every season that
Mhm.
you
And I
know,
mean,
go they go off on some tangent that doesn't make sense to the overall story arc.
well, I mean, it wasn't even a bad story. There was just such an easy way out of the conflict that nobody seemed to think to take. And I was like, my gosh, you people are stupid, like extraordinarily stupid. And it broke the show for me for that episode because I was like, how did nobody think of this? And part of the episode is that they spend a month trying to find a solution, but nobody could think of one.
Yeah. Well, there's some sci-fi movies that are like that too, that it's like 10 minutes in, the whole audience is yelling the solution at the screen that'll take them an hour and a half to figure out.
Hmm. I remember when I went to see Wonder Woman and I was like, oh yeah, that guy's the villain. He's trying to hide it, but that guy's totally the villain. It was like so obvious. Yeah.
I'm trying to scan through my watch history and find that there was an interesting channel I've discovered very recently. Oh, here he is.
So I was actually discussing why I don't like Blade Runner with someone, and they kept saying, but it's so freaking deep. Think about the meaning of it. I was like, tell me what you think the meaning is. And they describe it, and I'm like, oh, no wonder I was so freaking bored watching it. I learned that lesson when I was like 9. you
Yep.
know? So it's like, yeah. Oh. It's a beautiful movie. It's just really boring. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna drop a link here. Get back to the right tabs. There. This guy does a lot of model building, and some of the cool stuff he does is he builds spaceships rather just out of random things. And yeah, this particular video is where he built a spaceship out of a shampoo bottle.
Oh, wait a minute. Is he actually building models or just drawing them?
No, he's actually building them. Actually
Okay.
physically gluing things together and painting them.
Well, because there's this guy that takes ordinary household items and designs spaceship drawings out of them. And you know what? That the thumbnail there, or the first thing you see before you actually start playing the video, is exactly one of them. That's what the shampoo bottle thingy looked like in the drawing.
I'm not familiar with the guy you're talking about who does the drawings.
Well,
It could be he was inspired by that one, but he's done some other ones. Like one of them, he went to a dollar store, and said with just $5, let's see what I can find to build a ship out of.
here we go. Where is it? I know I have it.
But yeah, that's what I do a lot with Legos, is I try to build spaceships and come up with cool concepts for them.
Well, I mean, that's most of what I did too.
Yep.
When
Like
I had my those.
The core of my universe is the Galactic Alliance, which is like there's like 1,000 sentient races.
Okay, so you see right there, that's one of those drawings.
Yeah, it's definitely from the same bottle.
Yeah.
Although the ship itself is, I think significantly different.
Well, I mean, this one's a can opener.
Yeah,
right?
those are pretty cool.
This is made out of, yeah. And then there's this one, right?
Okay.
And then there's this one made out of a controller and a remote, right? This one's a vegetable peeler, and there's like a couple more. There's a space station made out of a fidget spinner.
Yep.
And then I'm not even sure. I think that's like a head shavy thing. They made that there.
Yeah, it's some kind of an electric razor.
And then there's this one. Right? It's the Sriracha bottle.
Is
So,
there
yeah.
a web page or something that he's got that you can drop a link to?
I'm sure there is one. I know I've seen it, but I don't have the link handy.
Okay, well, if you find it. Or if you find it another day, if you'd send it to me in Twitter.
Okay. But yeah, so when you said dude makes a model out of a shampoo bottle, I was like, well, I've seen that before.
Yeah, I was saying that, for my science fiction universe, it's all based on this Galactic Alliance. That there's like 1,000 sentient races that, come together peacefully and do their thing. Not too much combat involved. It's more just, seeing how different races react with each other. But one of the things I did with the Legos was I built a Galactic Alliance transport, and the main thing is I built it around the Bionicle canisters. That the transport is just a rough frame that you can plug the canisters into, because it's like each canister carries the atmosphere for a different planet, so that this one transport, can be carrying, species from a dozen different worlds and have them each in their own atmosphere.
Well, my own sci-fi universe is, well, my philosophy on sci-fi is that fun should take precedence over real science. And so I decided to do something that was very pulp 1950s kind of retro sci-fi. And so basically humanity hasn't even left the solar system yet. And it turns out that most of it is actually quite thoroughly populated. And so the main hero goes to like the moons of Jupiter, the moons of Saturn, and all those, which are all pretty darn populated, and has old school adventures like John Carter style adventures, that sort of thing.
I really like the one you did with Sandra, where the space station got attacked and they wound up cloning her.
Oh, yeah. It's one
You
of
know,
my
and
old
that
National
was,
Station episodes.
yeah, both the artwork and the script and the philosophical implications of that was all very interesting.
Thanks. Well, the truth is, I wrote that episode completely because I had made a better looking Sandra model and wanted to like start using it with a certain amount of continuity attached to why the change had happened.
Yeah, and I kind of like the joke in there from Dewey about, you know, I've got hands now. Wonder
Hmm.
why I never had them before.
Yeah, so that was the fun part.
Yeah, I like when when shows do that, when they give an in-universe reason for correcting something that they couldn't do earlier on.
Hmm. I think Babylon 5 does that a couple of times.
Um, I'm I'm falling asleep, so I'm gonna take off. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Well, have
always like having
fun,
you with us, Faye,
sleep well, and dream of large women.
Mm-hmm.
or whatever your type is.
Well, that's not the line.
I
Of
know, but I don't want to body shame anyone.
I kind of do, but only people that have been mean to me.
Although, quite honestly, I usually do dream of large women.
Hmm.
That just happens to be one of my preferred types. One of.
Oh, whatever floats your ducky.
Well, for me, there are so many different things that can get me started, so people of all different shapes and sizes.
Well, I have discovered that there is a Goldilocks zone. There is a level of acceptable for both thick and thin. So, at least for my own personal taste. And
Well,
that's the thing.
yeah,
I've actually had some people tell me like that my tastes are prejudiced or something, that just because there are certain trends in facial and physical morphology for certain, that it's like totally bigoted. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure you can like what you like regardless. I mean, it would be like someone telling me that it's bigoted to not enjoy, oh, I don't know, Polish folk dancing. They're like, see, you hate Polish people. I'm like, no, I just don't enjoy the music. It does not please me.
yeah. I've heard that argument, and it's like, no, you can have aesthetic preferences, without that meaning that you're a bigot. And certainly there can be people that you hang around with who you aren't necessarily sexually turned on by.
Mm-hmm. Although it always floors me when I'm attracted to someone who is way off type for my usual tastes.
Thanks, Faye. I appreciate you leaving it running. Yeah, I've had that at times, but like I say, I've just my taste can vary quite a bit.
Hmm.
It's kind of a more a mood of the moment thing more than anything else.
Well, I know that my taste will change based on how like recently I washed.
Well,
Okay,
yes, that's because your taste is linked to your sense of smell, so any strong odors will affect that.
that's not what I meant, but okay.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I get what you mean too. I don't always catch it right away. Sometimes I need to kind of replay it in my head to get it. Yeah,
Was
that is
today
the one
my
thing that will
birthday?
put me off. Just that anyone who has not washed recently, yeah,
Hmm.
that's probably the one thing I can't get by. Almost anything else, there's probably some room for compromise.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So did the Walmart run today. I got lucky on the Christmas toy clearance. They had a bunch of the collectible minifigs marked down 60%,
Hmm. I don't
which
know
at that
why
price I can
anyone would
buy them and
collect
resell.
figs of any size, but okay.
What's that?
I said, I don't know why anyone would collect figs of any size, but okay.
Well, actually, buying them at that price, I can resell them for more than I paid for them.
People will buy used figs.
Well, if they're still in their package, yes.
You mean the peel?
Well, the poly bags.
Poly bags. Yeah,
Yeah, see, some of them come that
I
they're in. Some of them come that they're in one bag inside of another bag, so that's a poly bag.
okay. And yes, I know we're talking about figurines. I'm making a joke about figs.
Yep.
Come on.
I
I,
know. I was going
no,
with you.
no, I don't mean you. I mean the people in the chat.
Yeah.
I knew you knew what I meant.
Yeah, but the minifigs are blind bags, so I mean, I could feel around the packs and figure out which one's which, but that takes a lot of time.
Hmm.
And it's like a lot of them that I'll buy just for, random parts. I don't really care so much about the figures themselves, but some of the accessories they come with.
Kung Fu grip. Actually, I don't even know what to picture for these because I really haven't had, or rather, I haven't gotten recent action figures in a very long time. I do have some old Babylon 5 toys on my geek shelf, though.
Well, one of them in this series of minifigs is, like a grandma gardener, and one of the accessories she comes with is a plastic lawn flamingo. So that's a new part that never appeared in anything before.
Maybe I don't get this whole like minifigs thing. What are we even talking about though? Like how many are they?
The little Lego figurines.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't really been in the toy scene in a very long time.
Aside from the Legos, I don't pay much attention to it anymore. I
Hmm.
was into the Transformers when they first came out. And
I was never really like, I remember what got me started wanting to ever play with G.I. Joes was when I found out you could pop that screw out of their back and make custom ones. Because you could pop the figure open and you could swap arms and torsos and shit around and the head. So you could just like make completely your own characters out of the parts that were available. And that made me want to play with the toys. I guess it's almost like I was headed down the path of making animated characters, having to make my own custom characters that way,
yeah,
like fairly early.
yeah, I used to do a lot of that as a kid too. I always wanted to take my toys apart and see what I could do with the random pieces. But
Wow.
see, I like we were saying about art. It's like I can't do any kind of drawing, and I seem to kind of have a block that I can't really work on a flat sheet. I need three-dimensional. I need physical pieces that I can manipulate in order to create something.
Hmm. I just have problems with getting perspective correct. I mean, I can make some reasonably decent drawings, but if I try to make like a whole scene or like have a character pointing in a certain direction and make sure their arm stays the same length relative to their body and all
Yeah,
of that, that's hard.
I know that's one of the hardest things with drawing figures. Is especially I know a lot of artists complain about being able to keep the hand proportions correctly as they're moving around.
Yeah. Well, I do have some of my old drawings from high school, and they're not bad exactly, but like if I tried to do more than just a figure, just a person, standing there, it would be difficult for me. But this, I think that's pretty decent, you know.
Yeah, no, that one's quite lifelike.
And there was one where I was I drew this sort of troll looking, orc looking chick with the bow in her hair.
Yep.
I was just having fun, but
Although it looks like her fangs are going to punch out her eyeballs.
they might. Yeah.
There's actually some kind of boar like that. This is a real animal. That its lower teeth never stop growing and they curve around until it penetrates its own skull.
Crazy pants.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, if anyone who believes in intelligent design, you need to explain this one to me.
Well,
Because
maybe
how could there
maybe
have been any thought process behind this animal having this severe handicap that it will literally kill itself?
well maybe the thought process was nothing more than ha ha. I mean, we are dealing with a deity that's allegedly real rat bastard sometimes.
Yeah. Well, even when I believed in him, I had promoted the theory that the platypus came about shortly after he had invented marijuana and was, experimenting.
I would imagine that would have been acid.
Had to be on something. It's like, got some leftover parts from a duck and a beaver, and I'm not sure where these came from, but let's stitch them all together and see what we get.
You know, God on Shrooms sounds like a bad 90s garage band.
Actually, sounds like a pretty good name for a rock band.
Eh, I still think that the best possible name for like a hardcore dyke band would be the Devil's Doorbell.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, Maya, as far as the problem, I'm assuming you're talking about stepping on Legos. And the Lego company actually makes slippers with extra thick padded soles to prevent that problem.
That's just silly. Slippers don't have soles.
But they can never go to heaven.
No.
Oh, yeah. Amiga nuts. It took me a second about the platypus. He forgot the nipples. That the platypus actually does feed, does produce milk for its babies, but it has no nipples. So it just kind of secretes the milk through its sweat glands, and the babies lap it up off the skin. Sorry, Maya, I have sympathies on anyone who has trouble sleeping because it's a chronic problem for me.
Oh, come on. Insomnia is nothing to lose sleep over.
Yeah.
Come on. That was good.
You
You
know, I,
know.
I would not mind the not sleeping part at all. It's the part about not being awake all day that bothers me. That I get so little sleep that most days I feel I'm functioning in zombie mode.
Hmm.
And the thing that continually astonishes me is anytime somebody gives me a compliment on the work I do, and it's like, really? You're impressed with this shit? What kind of standards were you expecting? I'm doing this shit half asleep, and they're considering me one of their best workers? Damn, what does that say about most of humanity?
So, did you know that Voltron is secretly feminist propaganda?
Well, it is made of five giant pussies, but other than that, no.
Well, none of those lions have manes. Voltron is made entirely out of female lions.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Did you know all Santa's reindeer are female?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that
in
one I know.
reindeer,
Well,
only the females will keep the antlers through the winter.
I figure if there's one called Vixen, that one's right up in your face there.
Yeah, some of them seem more confusing. Actually, the idea of five women for one man, in a biological sense, that works perfectly well. That's part of what humans need to realize is that the males are really disposable in mammals. That generally in any mammal species, if you just have one male surviving for every 10 females, the species will do fine.
There is that.
Yeah, our problem is that society protects the stupid because otherwise, probably three-quarters of the males would kill themselves off as teenagers trying to impress people before they actually got a chance to breed.
I suppose it's a shame that humanity doesn't have plumage. you know, for the male to present like a peacock kind of thing.
Yeah, well, in our society, if a male presents to a female he doesn't know, he generally winds up in jail.
Well, I just mean like, you know, it'd be easier to impress people if all you had to do was unfurl the feathers.
Yeah. Yeah, but, teenage boys are known for trying to impress girls by doing stupid stunts that the girls usually don't care about anyway.
Well, goodness knows I never cared.
That's the natural order. Well, I never cared for doing them. It's like, I was always the one that was pointing out that, this is not a good idea, and watching somebody do it and having to drag them back to their parents because they've got a broken leg.
Well, if I ever bring a kid back to their parents with a broken leg, it's because I broke it.
Yeah. Well, I did say I'd drag them back there, and it's like, since I told them beforehand I wasn't going to be too nice about it, I had no problem with, warned you, you shouldn't have tried
Yeah.
that, and just all the way home telling them I told you so, because I did.
Wow. I like telling people so.
Well, see, that's what I find funny. I don't find people getting hurt to be funny, but self-inflicted pain I find funny.
Yeah, there is.
If there was a reasonable expectation that an intelligent person should have seen this coming and they do it anyway, that's funny.
Well, have you seen that video of the people with trucks and moving vans not quite realizing how low that bridge is, despite it being posted quite clearly what the clearance is? And there's just these videos of trucks smashing into this bridge, often to the point where like the front end of it ends up going up several feet and then crashing to the ground. And it's just this long video of people being that stupid.
I've seen some of those, probably not the video you're referring to because I haven't seen one that was that long. But my brother was an over-the-road trucker and had some interesting stories about that.
An over-the-road trucker?
Yeah, interstate trucking. He drove all over the U.S.
Because truckers would not be on the road, or they would not be over the road if they weren't doing it between states.
Yeah, the local drivers have to go under the road so they're out of the way.
How odd.
You didn't know that.
Mm-mm. I also don't think I believe you.
Yeah. I've considered doing that for my channel too. I've considered doing some videos just to see which ones people will believe, and both on the thing that I know some very bizarre history that is actually true that no one would believe, and I think I can make up some stories that most people will believe. Well, I know I can because I've done it to my family enough times. There are things that are enshrined in our family's lore that I know are bullshit because I'm the one who started the story. And 20 years later, everyone is certain it's something that actually happened. If you got a decent story and you tell it often enough, people will take it as fact.
Right? Like that whole thing about how Canada exists.
Canada too now? I thought it was only Australia that didn't exist.
No, I mean, there's parts of Canada that used to exist, but not anymore.
Yeah, well, the world is getting smaller.
Hmm. I still wouldn't want to have to paint it, though.
Yeah. Well, getting all the dust off the beaches in the prep stage would be a pain. If you want a good paint job, you spend twice as long on prepping as you do on painting. So,
Well, I'll take your word for that.
sorry, got lost in a minute there.
That's okay.
My fiance was an artist, and she liked experimenting with different mediums and all sorts of painting. She didn't do too much as far as highly realistic stuff. She tended to do more abstract and even some surreal things.
Hmm. Well, I don't know.
Oh, and I've completely lost track of the string in the side chat there.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually getting quite tired. So I
Yep.
might do that whole sleeping thing, eyelid movies.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you go do that and come back and at least tell me about it so I know how it works?
Well, the real problem is the price of admission, and all the snacks are so overpriced.
Yeah. Well, see, my problem with sleeping is I can never get my brain to shift into neutral. I can be so physically exhausted that I can barely drag my body to the bathroom and I still won't be able to fall asleep because my brain is just buzzing with so many different things going on and like, you didn't finish the calculations for this project and oh, here's another idea and did you ever wonder if it would work this way and would the aliens on this planet have evolved this way?
Yeah, I don't.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I constantly have that going on and it's like to ever get my head to quiet down enough to fall asleep is the problem.
I find that if I have any physical distractions, then like I find it really hard to go to sleep. Like if I'm really hungry, I can't go to sleep. And also if my ADD is getting triggered, I can't go to sleep. So I always fall asleep with music.
Yeah, well, I usually leave something running for voices. Not really in the room I'm sleeping, but these days I leave one of my playlists on YouTube running just because it's familiar voices in the next room.
Well, what I did, I actually ripped a bunch of movies to MP3s, just audio files, and put them on my Kindle. So when I'm done like reading myself to sleep and I'm about to actually fall asleep, I'll turn on one of those MP3s. The only problem is finding movies that are not too busy, that are not too loud or action packed. Is finding mostly like John Hughes comedies work the best for
Yep.
this. That genre of film, like you definitely don't want to fall asleep to, oh, I don't know, The Road Warrior or
Yeah, well,
Ghostbusters.
you need something where the volume stays at a relatively constant level.
Yeah, and also which doesn't have like a lot of energy to it. Like, I could take the entire soundtrack to Star Wars and put it on my Kindle and try to fall asleep to it, and it'll never ever happen.
Yeah, yeah, because
Same
some of that
thing
gets you
for
pumped up.
and like if I did Metallica's discography, that wouldn't work either. So, what's oddly pleasant to fall asleep to? There's two of them: is Adventures in Babysitting and Weekend at Bernie's are strangely pleasant to fall asleep to.
Okay, I guess I never considered those for that.
It works.
Yeah,
Also, Coming to America, Trading Places, and 16 Candles, and The Princess Bride.
I could see the Princess Bride. I've tried falling asleep to audiobooks, but I have to be careful because if I start getting interested in the story, then that
Mm.
starts, like sparking more ideas, and not so much that I'm listening to the book anymore, but it's like my brain's going off on some kind of tangent.
Well, I mean, even with those movies, though, I don't really have them at an audible level. They're turned down so far, they might as well be like some of that ASMR stuff.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just there to keep my ears occupied. I mean, I don't know if you've been around for when I've described it on Diana's channel, but what ADD, at least for me, is like if one of my senses is not occupied, usually sight or vision or sight or hearing, because it doesn't really matter if I'm not smelling anything, but like if I'm in total silence, I will not be able to concentrate on anything, a book, work, anything. I need aural stimulus, not oral, by the way, aural, AURAL, for those of you in the chat who are going to make that funny. And so like if I, it feels like someone's tapping on my forehead going, hey, 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 until I start playing some music, and that music pushes that tapping away. And I'm not saying literally it feels like I'm being physically tapped, but I'm just saying analogy wise, yeah. And so if I try to fall asleep like that, or if I'm hungry and you get that hunger pang, I can't concentrate with that either. It's kind of like how when people think they're lost and they're trying to figure out the directions to where they're trying to go, they turn the music down in the car. uh, even though
yeah,
there's no reason why that should matter. It's like that, but with my attention for everything. Like I have it backward where I need the distraction to concentrate. Oh, the sheer number of times when I look up from my work and realize that my favorite song ever is just ending, and the reason I noticed is because it's over. And I want it back because it's my favorite song.
yeah.
Like because I just get lost in my work because the music has grabbed me so hard.
I hadn't heard that, as described with ADHD, but I'm familiar with the phenomena.
Do,
I've
do.
certainly known a number of people who've said they can't study without having music on or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
yeah. Well, for me, the thing is having voices in the next room because, I grew up in a house that there were always at least a dozen people, so it was never quiet.
You grew up? I never did.
Yeah, well, mm, I managed to drag my heels, but being over 50, for the most part, I have. I think when you have to raise children yourself, it kind of forces you to do that. But
Yeah, I don't ever want the responsibility of a child. I will stick with the most responsibility I want is my cat. Because she doesn't need her ass wiped, and it's easy to feed her, and she doesn't go to school. So yeah, I mean, like when I hear about people having a dog, I'm like, so even if you're sick or tired, at some point you got to go for that walk so your dog can take a dump, right? I'd
yep,
rather, I'd rather litter train a cat, honestly, because then all I have to do is dump it every other day.
yeah, and that's what Sloth Girl said and why she decided to get a cat. She actually wanted to get a dog, but then she's realizing that, yeah, even when it's below zero outside, I'm gonna have to take the dog for a walk every day. Fuck that, I'm getting a cat.
Yeah. So that's as much responsibility for another living creature as I would like. Um, so I don't have that children will make you grow up problem that you've described, is my point.
Yeah, Well, what I was saying about having voices in the next room, because one of my problems is my hearing is way too good.
Oh.
So if I can't hear voices, I will pick up every little noise in the building.
Hmm.
And until I can identify the noise, I can't fall asleep.
Well, I was having trouble falling asleep because, like, when I had my window open, all I could hear out the window was "fuck me, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me." Darn crickets wouldn't shut up. They're all trying to get laid.
Yeah,
And I could not fall asleep because it wasn't music, it wasn't a movie, it wasn't that soothing sound. It was more like might as well have been a car alarm.
yeah. For me, it's mechanical noises that bother me the most. So it's like if I don't have the voices going, it's like every time the refrigerator cycles on, I snap to that noise, and it's like, okay, that's the refrigerator. Then I can try to fall back to sleep. But
Mm,
it's like, if I don't have something, if I don't have human voices, I'll pick up every little noise like that and I'll wake up until I identify it. And it's just very disruptive.
mm. I don't, thankfully, don't have that problem. I'm glad I don't, and I'm sorry you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could find something that would consistently work for sleeping, but the only things I have found fall under the narcotics, so the doctors won't give them to me.
Well, I mean, I know one way, you won't like it, but I know one way to consistently fall asleep.
Try me. I would do some pretty desperate things to get a decent night's sleep just once a month.
Oh, decent night's sleep. Never mind then.
Did this involve blunt objects?
It did.
Okay, yeah, that's been suggested a number of times, and uh, if you catch me on the right day, when I'm going about on my third day on about 4 hours sleep, I'll take you up on that.
Okay.
Because
Anyway,
at that point, I reach a stage where I start hallucinating. So, yeah, then if somebody would hit me with a cast iron pan, that would be welcome.
I was saying something on Twitter about how I thought that Bronx sounds like a sound effect in a comic book about a guy getting whacked on the noodle. Like someone sneaks up on this poor schmuck and sklunks him on the head, and the
Yeah,
page says Bronx, and then he makes a very pleasant thump as he hits the ground.
yeah, I'm seeing that in a Looney Tunes cartoon
Yeah,
about somebody smacking Daffy Duck on the back of the head and him doing a face plant in the sidewalk.
yeah. Anyway, like we got off on all these tangents, and I was saying I'm very sleepy, and I'm gonna go to bed now.
Okay, well, hope you
So
get some good rest.
I will do my best, thank you, and may the forces of darkness become confused on the way to your house.
I think that is one of the most wonderful blessings I've ever heard. Okay, and now I'm in here all alone. And I don't do well on these things alone. I never know what to talk about if there isn't someone else here. The best thing I've fallen asleep to is 8 foot high sprinklers and berry patches. Well, it's doorknob head, so I don't even know if I should try to make any sense of that. But sorry, doorknob. I I can't do poems on call. That's the music and poetry is an aspect that is so reclusive to me. I really have to kind of consider it a separate personality. Not when I can call up, it just comes up when it feels inspired. Yeah, yeah, poetry's definitely not in the offering tonight. It would have to be something I would be thoroughly plagiarized. See, my problem is I tend to work with my hands and physical objects, so I don't have many talents that I can demonstrate online. Ugh. Viking stories, I've got a sexy breathing. Yeah, with the way my throat feels, I don't think it would sound all that sexy. Viking stories, I should have had some of, but again, nothing's coming to mind. Yeah, I seriously, I need to keep some notes aside on stuff planned out, so I've got something to talk about when this winds up being alone. No, doorknob, work with hands, as in mostly with power tools. Okay, Maya, I'm glad that that wasn't a serious thing. I did at several points just kind of lose track of the thread in the side chat there. Well, and yes, doorknob, I did have a woman ask me to build her a power tool for that. The main trick of it was, you know, getting something that would do the speed reduction from a reciprocal saw without the motor stalling out. Yeah, carpentry. I do all sorts of home repairs. Carpentry. I do electrical, plumbing. Pretty much everything in a house except for the heating and electrical system. And a lot of that has more to do with that it requires specialized tools I have than it's something I don't know how to do. But yeah, if you gave me the pile of materials and three or four people to help me with it, I could actually build a house from scratch. That's my father was a carpenter, so I grew up with that, always having a workshop in the basement and spending time talking to the other tradesmen. So I learned a bit of everything. That's why I've made my living doing just general home repairs, just doing, pretty much everything. One week I'm a plumber, one week I'm an electrician, one week I'm doing a roof. Yeah, Maya, why don't you come in here? Do we have you on? I wonder, are you on my Twitter? Can I send you a link through Twitter? No. Ah, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. Oh, sorry. No, Maya, I don't seem to have you on Twitter. Would be good to have you in here. If you give me your Twitter handle, I could send you a link, I think. Did Mikey stick around or did he head off? See, part of it is I need somebody to be able to fill the dead air space when I have to mute my mic because I'm coughing. So, I'm not getting sick. It's just, for me, when my allergies are giving me problems, I get a hacking cough. And unfortunately, where I live, I feel I am suffering sick building syndrome. That there is something in this building that is constantly gassing off. So when it's too cold outside for me to open the windows, things build up and I start having an allergic reaction to something in the air. And I have no idea how, I can't identify what it is, and it's something I probably can't eliminate. So instead, I get stuck hacking along up on a regular basis in the winter. Yeah, Mikey's cool. He keeps things moving. Oh, and you realize there is a delay here. I'm not sure how much it is, but I read something in the side chat and I comment on it, and it's probably anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds before you hear what I say to what you typed. Yeah, I was poking some people on Twitter trying to get somebody to come in here, but not having any response. Although I am getting some good questions from people for doing the AMA, which will actually should be shortly. So I'm going to do my 2 gross stream when I get up to 288 subscribers. Right now I'm at 278, so we'll see. For a while there, I was building steadily, and I was, picking up three to five subscribers every week. But then it kind of stalled out, and I wasn't picking up any new people for a while, and picked up a bunch with the Christmas stream. But yeah, due to the hour in my local time, it seems that most people here are asleep already. Oh, hey, Mikey. Yeah, I understand if you got to go to work tomorrow, but you're always welcome to come in here. And Maya, I've got Mikey's Twitter. I don't seem to have yours. So Maya, you'd certainly be welcome to come in here. We've chatted together in some of Math Pig streams, so and Amiga Nuts, in order for Doorknob to have lost it, would imply that at some time he had to have it. Sorry, I know that one was going kind of further back, but I hadn't noticed that one before. Oh, hi, Doc.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in. What's going on with you?
Oh, not much. I kind of wasn't planning on joining the stream. I don't know. I'm just a little tired. I'm off work, so just kind of chilling.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were working tonight or not.
Having one of those nights where I just never really woke up, But it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, and Amiga Nuts, I realized that Kate and I were going on about different figs, but I was kind of having fun playing with it that way.
I thought the poop game sounded pretty fun.
Okay, I didn't know if you'd been listening to the whole stream or how far back you'd been.
Yeah, I've been kind of hiding.
Yeah, well, it's Walmart had the Lego collectible minifigs on clearance, so I went and I bought a couple boxes of them because I've got a store on Bricklink, which is a website that exclusively sells Legos. So that's how I keep my hobby supporting itself. When I can buy the stuff cheap and resell it, and right now I need the money, and this is an item I know I can turn around quick and make some money on.
Groovy.
Because if I can buy them at 60% off, I know I can sell them for more than I paid for them. And if I get lucky and find some of the rare ones, I can probably sell some of those for up to 10 times what I paid for them.
Crazy.
So, yeah. It's one of those things if you know a specific market. If you know what are the rare pieces, you can pick up some money.
Yep.
I've been selling off a lot of my Legos over the last couple of months just because I don't have enough storage space and I need more money. Although, actually, that should probably be listed the other way around, that the greater thing is I need money.
Yeah, that's going around for sure. Kind of hanging on by a string myself.
Yep. Although for you, Sloth Girl did get me one of the upgrades for my computer. So she got me a backlit gaming keyboard. Mostly I just wanted the backlit keyboard so I can type in the dark. I didn't have a problem when I could fully touch type, but since I've only got one finger working on the right hand, I kept getting things that I'd be a column off, and I was, taking me too long to type anything. I gotta actually watch it.
Yep, I don't even own a computer. I do all this from my smartphone and Xbox.
Well, Sloth Girl too, she's got a laptop, but she actually doesn't use it very often. Most of the time when she's on YouTube, she's on the Xbox, And like if she's in a chat, she's making comments on her tablet.
I actually do have a laptop here. A friend left. We use it for like role playing games online. But I could try that, but it's like kind of old and obsolete and doesn't do much.
Yeah, I've got like a 10-year-old laptop that's got Windows 8 on it. And I use that when I travel, mostly when I go to the gaming conventions. But I find it kind of annoying. Not as annoying as the cell phone, though. At least it's got a proper keyboard, even if it's a little small. I still have trouble dealing with the cell phone. Touchscreens absolutely hate me.
Huh.
And I hate the fact that with a touchscreen, that, I'll have something displayed on there, like, I'll have my notepad up on there giving me what I need. And anytime I touch the phone, it decides to do something else. I wish there was a button that would just lock it so that it would stay on the screen it's on until I specifically unlock it.
Yeah, I have just loads of fun with my damn thing. I try to pick it up or something, and I click 1,000 buttons.
Yep.
That I didn't want to click. I accidentally blocked somebody on a side chat once.
Well,
just because I
last
tried
night,
to pick it up.
yeah, last night picking it up, somehow the cell phone changed my background and erased all but 2 of the icons from the home page. So I'm not even sure which apps I've lost. I don't remember what was there. It's like I'm not going to remember them until I need them, and then I'm going to be all pissed off that I don't have them and I've got to go and download them again.
Yep. Y'all didn't hear that train, did you?
I didn't.
Yeah, I live like a couple yards from the train like station or HQ or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so much of a station, really. It's not like where you can like it's a cargo train, not like a passenger train, so.
Well, even if I heard it, I probably wouldn't have noticed it, because most of my life I lived with train tracks at the end of the block.
Yeah,
Maya,
I wish
if you
this
wanna,
were.
sorry,
I
Maya,
wish
if
this
you
were
want to
just the
join in
tracks.
next week, just let's connect on Twitter so I can send you the link for next week. Okay, sorry, Doc.
Oh, and I was just yammering.
That's good. I need something to fill the dead air space.
What better way than to fill it with the dead?
I wasn't quite sure where you fell in with that with the cyborg thing. I wasn't sure if you were artificially created or if you were kind of the, brain in a jar with the robot body, or...
Well, I'm an urban horror, like Candyman or Bloody Mary. So I'm a disembodied spirit.
Ah.
And,
I suppose that
because
fits. We don't really have any evidence of you having a physical form yet.
no, well, yeah, and then and then of course the what do they call that when the ghost hunters are looking for the electromagnetic spikes?
Oh, yeah.
The EMF detectors. That's what I'm
Yep.
thinking of. And they totally work for ghosts because we totally affect electromagnetism, and that's how we connect to the internet. So
Yeah,
that stuff
actually,
totally works.
well, I had wondered about that, and it was one of the theories I developed during my paganism was, that if ghosts and spirits operate on the EMF level or those frequencies, was that why pagans had such a problem with electronics? Because if the magic was working on something close to the electrical frequency, did they generate interference with it? So that was basically my
Yeah.
theory on, why technology and magic were incompatible, because they were basically generating interference waves with each other.
That could be, and that could also be how they can potentially work with each other, like with techno magic.
Yeah, if you can get
If
them
you,
into sync, then they would reinforce each
yeah,
other.
yeah, that's just how it works.
Yeah, I'm going to check that on Twitter now. I think the way Twitter works now is that it's not letting you DM, or maybe it's something in my settings that I can't seem to DM, and people can't DM me unless we're both following each other. Oh. And I'm coming up with way too many Mayas when I try to look here.
How am I sounding, by the way? Because I have my microphone turned up by my eyebrow.
Oh no, you sound great.
This seems to be a pretty good microphone.
Yeah. Yeah, no problems at all tonight. Yeah,
Oh
Maya,
boy.
what's your Twitter handle? Because when I just type in Maya, I get a whole list of them, and I'm not sure which one's you.
Yeah, because this is my Xbox headset that I just got with the Xbox, and I just have it plugged into my smartphone. So it seems to be a pretty damn good microphone for freebie.
Yeah, I looked at my notifications, and it's like sometimes it gives me one that somebody new followed me, and sometimes it doesn't mention it. So right now I'm not getting anything. I don't know if there's anything on Twitter that, is there something I can go to that it'll tell me who's recently followed me?
Yeah, I get a notification when I'm followed, but I don't know how to look.
Well, it's like sometimes I get the notification for it and sometimes I don't. Twitter doesn't seem to be real consistent about that.
I'm probably experiencing the same thing. I just don't notice the ones that don't trigger the notification, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm only aware of it because of situations like this. Like,
Yep.
somebody wants me to, somebody wants to join one of the private lists I'm in, and okay.
Yeehaw.
Bah. I've also got too many private lists going. It's like some of them are dead, but it's like it won't really let me delete them. Uh,
Are y'all?
Trying to see if I got the right person here. Ah, dang it. I'm not really good with the tech stuff. I get too confused by these things.
I'm not well versed in it myself, but I just don't use it very much. I learn it when I start using it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it with me too. And unfortunately, with trying to learn to do, trying to do edited videos, I'm having to try and learn too many different programs at the same time, and it's getting really, really confusing. And it's like I know I've been saying that for well over a year now, but it's still the case. I can't keep it straight because I can't figure out for each program which menu I'm supposed to look under to find an option I need. Nope, not that one. Oh,
Yep.
uh, yeah, the coughing should get better when I run out of internal organs to cough up.
Yup, me too. I had to mute there and have a coughing fit, but I'm a smoker, so it
Well,
just
see,
comes with
that's,
the territory.
yeah. See, I can't convince anyone that I never smoked because I've got the hacking cough like a smoker, but that's just how my allergies are.
Yup.
Okay. Okay, sorry, Maya. I guess I wasn't following you before, but now I gotcha. Okay, so we're following each other, and now I should be able to add you to the private list where I send out the notifications. If Twitter will cooperate here. Of course not.
It's gotta fight you every step of the way.
See, I figured out what the problem is of why I've got too many private lists going here. Is that we keep creating lists for specific things, and it's like once the list is created on Twitter, it will never go away.
Mm,
The only thing you can ever do is, like rename it or repurpose it, but there's no way to ever get rid of it.
hmm.
So yeah, one of the private lists that's still running is the one we started for the fundraiser for your car.
Yup. Well, then next time you need one, rename it, repurpose it.
Yeah, well, that's at this point. It's like the one I did for the Xmas stream. It's like, okay, it's not going to go away. I've got to just figure out a new name for it because people keep posting on it almost every day. Yeah, Doorknob had I don't think Faye's around. I think she went to bed, but I think she left it
Yeah,
logged in.
yeah, that's what was confusing me. People were still talking to Wonder Lady, and I was like, I don't see them in here.
Well, I just saw Doorknob had just tried to send her a message, but
Yeah.
I think she said she was going to bed, but she's just going to leave it logged in just to help me get some more watch time.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the problems with running the live streams when they go for a couple hours and, if somebody comes in for a little while and goes out and they don't stay for most of it kind of screws with the algorithm because it says that somebody only watched, 10% or 20% of the stream. So YouTube takes that to mean that I can't hold the audience, so they won't recommend the channel to anyone else.
Hmm.
Because I get really weird things in the analytics. Like when I do an edited video, it says the number of watches goes way up, but my watch time goes way down. And
Hmm.
YouTube doesn't ever consider the fact that this is because they're comparing a 6-minute video against a 5-hour live stream.
Yeah. Nope. We don't. I don't hear any voices, anyways.
Well, other than the one in my head that keeps saying, kill your
Mhm.
boss, kill your boss, kill your boss, which is really terrifying when you're self employed.
Well, the voices in my head tell me eat more cantaloupe. I don't know.
Yeah, mine gave up on that after they saw the quality of produce we get around here. It's like, yeah, that's just not worth it anymore. I love cantaloupe, but I haven't actually had a decent one in years now.
It's been a minute or two for me as well.
Well, again, it's, living in this little rural area, everything has to be trucked in, so there's no real such thing as fresh produce. By the time the
Yowzers.
produce gets to the stores here, it's like 2 days past when the stores in the city would have thrown it out.
Yikes.
Yeah, so it's like we're paying 3 times the price for it, and the quality just isn't worth it. And my body is not taking that well because of that. The result of that is winding up being a very literal meat and potatoes diet.
Yeah. You should start growing your own produce.
I'd like to, but this far north, the growing season is so short. We actually only
Uh,
have about 3 months when you can grow vegetables.
you need to move the hell out of there, man.
I've been saying that since the day I got here.
I hate to admit it, but Iowa is even better than that, at least where I live.
Yeah.
It's kind of shitty and boring, but
Well,
and it's a Trump state, but
yeah. Minnesota's my target. I'm trying to get back to Minnesota.
yeah.
And strangely enough, I have never lived in Iowa, but at some point in my life, I have lived in every state that borders it. Just one of
Yeah,
those weird
that's
realizations. So yeah, pretty much all my life I've been making Iowa jokes, and it's like, I think that's why they won't let me back in Minnesota now, is because I admit to having friends in Iowa.
yeah, I never understood that weird rivalry between Minnesota and Iowa.
Oh, that it happens with
It's
me.
usually joking, but
Yeah, it's neighboring states all over the country that do that. When I was in New
silliness.
York, it was between New York and New Jersey. Indiana and Illinois do the same thing. So,
Yeah,
it's just that kind of tribalism. It's the us and them mentality, and a lot of it's generally fueled by the sports teams.
I knew there was another reason I hated sports.
Yep. Yeah, sports is really a big thing for keeping the tribalism going. Because you're supposedly pitting your warriors against the ones from the next city over and all this shit. And it's like, that's kind of the way it used to be. That you know they were at least at some level, like playing for the honor and the glory of their city or their state. But now they don't give a damn. They just go to the highest bidder. So they're all mercenaries. They've got no
Yeah,
loyalty to anyone. So why are you rooting for them?
yeah, it's all mired in such politics and crap. Money gets involved, and it's all just a silly backyard game.
Yeah. Yeah, I never saw the appeal of professional sports. It's like, okay, why do I want to pay whatever the price of a ticket to go and watch someone else exercise?
I started getting into Ninja Warrior for a while. That's about as close to any sport I can really enjoy. Where, it's just a person going on this really difficult obstacle. Just kind of a PvE sport.
I watched that on TV a few times.
But it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a couple of TV game shows that were things along that line that obviously were excuse me. Sorry, a little bout of the
Mm-hmm.
hiccups. Yeah. But yeah, for a while there, those were seemed to be pretty popular. That there were, like at least a half dozen of those game shows that were just highly physical obstacle courses. Yeah, see, for me it would be more interesting to be designing the obstacle course than to be running through it.
Yeah, they came up with some interesting ones.
Yeah, but they were like all heavily padded and everything. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I know. Where are the spikes? Where's the fire? Where are
Yeah,
the fire pits? Wussies. Why, back in my day?
yeah. If you're gonna offer big prizes, there has to at least be the chance of somebody losing a limb.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, people are too soft these days. When I was a kid, my one time for Christmas, my grandpa gave me a box of broken glass and gave my brother a box of Band-Aids. He said, "Now you two share."
Yeah,
No, that's a Stephen Wright joke. I have to give credit.
I don't know who Stephen Wright is.
Oh, really? Stand-up comedian. Been around since the early '80s.
Okay, I should probably look him up. I like
Oh,
good stand-up.
he's absolutely brilliant. He does this sort of just kind of real. I don't know if you call it deadpan, but just this sort of mellow, uh, weird contradictory statements and weird one-liners like, uh, I bought instant water, but I don't know what to add. You can't have everything. Where would you put it?
It sounds like my type of thing.
I bet you totally dig Stephen Wright. He's just very,
Yeah,
very, very mellow, interesting fellow.
I like the observational and the offbeat humor because it's kind of like, I know my brain doesn't process the world the way most people do.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm often noticing things that everyone else is completely oblivious to, and it's like, okay, so why'd they make it like that?
Yeah. And sometimes you just kind of notice these things and you realize just how weird things are, but they're just glazed over and regarded as normal.
Yeah.
But when you really think about it, you're like, that's pretty freaking weird.
Yeah, mostly it's like more and more I just see things in society and I'm thinking like, okay, did this actually just mutate off of something that was at one time useful? Or how did somebody ever think this was a good idea? Or just, why does this thing need to exist? What's the point in having it around?
Some ideas just long outlive their usefulness,
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's some stuff we get stuck to out of habit, like the fucking keyboard layout we have to use, which makes absolutely no sense anymore.
Yeah, indeed.
But, it's like everybody's used to using it, so there isn't any point where we can change it, because the people who already know it'll get pissed off that they have to learn it, and nobody will just take one so that, why can't we just make this at least easier for the next generation so they don't have to deal with something that got screwed up 100 years ago?
Yeah.
Yep. And then you wind up with the stuff that just becomes so obscure that nobody knows how it got that way. It's just always been that way. So you call it tradition and you keep doing it.
Indeed, and I like what Neil, the 604 atheist, said about tradition, that it's just peer pressure from dead people. I rather like that.
I hadn't heard him say that, but yeah, I like that too. And yeah, I can definitely see where that comes from a Jewish background too, because it's like, the culturally Jewish people are always very big on the ancient traditions. I grew up in a community that was mostly Jewish, and I saw a lot of that. It's like, yeah, this is the way we did it in the old country. Yes, but you did it in the old country because there nobody could afford this thing. It's like, this costs $5 and would fix your problem. You don't have to do it the way the cavemen did it anymore.
Yeah. But I guess they find comfort in their traditions, and it is an excuse for people to gather together and socialize, I suppose.
Yep. Okay, well, I appreciate you coming in. We're coming up on 2:30.
Yep, indeed.
And yeah, I have to, unfortunately, stuck running some errands for my sister in the morning, so I can't lay in bed too late.
Yep, I gotta
so this
go
would be a good time to close it down.
Yep, I gotta go and find some way to reach a state of consciousness of some kind.
Yeah, I'm usually having the problem of trying to reach a state of unconsciousness, and I mean, the one thing I got out of the paganism is at least I learned some meditation techniques. So even if I can't get my brain to shut up, I can disconnect it so my body gets some rest. I won't actually fall asleep, but at least my body gets a chance to do the sleep thing.
Well, thank you, Doorknob Head and Maya.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm probably especially Stephen Wright at the moment because I'm just kind of in a weird quasi awake state.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah, Maya. I put you on the list, so you should get the notifications and links for the midnight chats every week now. Doorknob Head, always appreciate you livening up the conversation. Faye, if you're in some semi-awake state and still listening, so hope you can get some good rest. Somebody else is out there, I don't know who, because it's still listing 7 people, so
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Is Mikey still logged
well,
in?
it
Or?
might be me because I've got the YouTube thing going on my Xbox.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm sure it's counting you and me as part of it, but after you and me, there should be 5 more people. So, not sure who else is still logged in, but whoever it is, thank you. I appreciate you, giving my channel some watch time.
Yep.
Okay, wait a minute. I think I missed something there. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, ending the broadcast. Good night, all.
Good night, folks.